I guess I'll maybe shift the energy a little bit. So I'm not gonna ask because I don't want you to call yourself out, but I'm just curious about like your opinion on people partying and smoking and doing all that stuff in high school. Like, just what's your opinion on that?
See, my idea on that has always been it's gonna be impossible to cut that out completely from high school life. I mean, that's a core part of what sort of defines that American high school experience.
American high school is euphoria, basically.
I mean, yeah, that's why that show was made. But see, and I think the most important thing has never been, just taking it away, because I think high schoolers are always going to find a way around it. But it should be to teach them how to use it responsibly and in moderation, where they could balance using certain substances with while not getting completely hooked on it, and every other aspect of their life. Because my main concern is that it consumes their life and they can't get out of it. And that's the awful part about drugs and alcohol. Parties are a different part, because I think my greatest fear about that has been the sexual assault incidents, and I think that's another part of just rape culture, and how really like things like sex ed at schools, they're not doing enough. Because if their idea is that it's not happening, and that it's once in a while it happens, I think that's a lie. It happens way more frequently, and I think pretty much most high schoolers, and that's just on my opinion, not really on any fact, I think have been exposed to it, or at least know of it. Yeah. So I my take on it is that we should be teaching students how to use it responsibly, and not just trying to completely remove it and think that it's better now, because that's not how things are going to work out.
No, I completely agree with your viewpoint. Like, I think that people, like, if they do it in moderation, if they're safe, they're not drinking and driving, like, there's no point to do that. We have Uber. And I do think what you were saying about sexual assault is very important, because people don't realize that, like, if someone's really drunk, they cannot give consent. And I'm actually doing part of my senior research project on like,
that's really cool, yeah.
Like sex depictions in movies, film, adult film industry,
yeah.
And like how that affects like teens and like their relationships and ability to consent, because like we just get such a false narrative of like what sex actually is, like because of like movies, TV shows, and just like people just don't really understand fully what's going on. But yeah, like I know someone at actually that I know of this friend. I'm not as good friends with him anymore, but he actually had a severe DUI, and he like completely rolled his car over like a bunch of different times.
I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah. Okay, so you know what we're talking about. We won't call this person out. But yeah, like stuff like that. Like I'm completely against stuff like that. Like, how can you even allow yourself to be behind the wheel and flip your car like a million times? And also like just doing hard drugs. I don't know. For me, that's a little bit intense for high school.
It definitely is. And we're hearing all this talk about seeing all the possible ways to restrict access to those substances, because a part of my curiosity is, how are these students getting their hands on these substances? But even if we do all that, at the end of the day, if they do get their hands on it somehow, it's the question of, do they know what to do with it? How to deal with it? If the simple solution is, they should just leave it and walk away, are they gonna actually do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard thing to think about. And I don't know, like things like marijuana and mushrooms, like those have been shown to have like medical uses. Like in Colorado, I think it's legal or decriminalized, something like they're allowing mushrooms. But like it's like what is okay for like younger kids to do, like marijuana, like you can get a medical card at 18 if you have like a reason for it. But it's like finding an equal balance, and like you were talking earlier, like being able to, I guess, like balance school, like that's really important. And like I guess I don't see anything wrong with if someone could do both, like I guess like drink or do drugs and maintain school. But if like one of those things, or if drugs is taking over your life or like getting in the way of school, then it should just be like cut out completely. There should like be no sacrifice for you taking any sort of substance than like your schoolwork.
And it's always nice to see those like recovery stories. Someone who's been on the just complete deep end in a few months becoming successful. So those are always wholesome, and I think that's the goal. Providing the right resources to students, and just by the federal government even, to ensure that students, to ensure that students stay away from these substances, and if they do get in contact with them, that they're being responsible.
Yeah, I mean, something that was kind of funny is like me and my family just watched the news like last night, and my mom was like had a whole pep talk to me because these people on spring break, they all took cocaine together, and there was like 6 overdoses because it had fentanyl in it, and my mom was just like, oh my god, I could never see you doing drugs like that. Like if you killed yourself, I wouldn't know what I would do. Like she's just freaking out, and like that's, I mean, sadly, like that has happened at our school before, and it's like, cause I knew the kid that passed away. I'm not gonna say his name just out of respect, but like it's really sad to see stuff like that happen. Like kids just like, innocently like, wanting to experience drugs, or just like be loose a little bit. Like it's tragic that something that would happen.
Yeah, and they have such a life ahead of them, and yeah, it's definitely saddening.
I mean, yeah, and I've known a couple people like that I don't really associate anymore that have gone through really like hard like drug phases, then got out of it. It's good to see, but also like it's scary when people are like in that kind of mindset of like being on those drugs.